Let's go over to the Brilliant Idiots world. And let's just cover Charlamagne's book, actually. Get Honest or Die Lying, Why Small Talk Sucks.
How is it?
I don't know.
Well,
Tone. This is on Tone.
I was
God
asking
damn.
you, but
I feel like, because I was reading that shit and I was listening to it, and like I didn't want to be like, yo, this is his best book because, you know, you listening to it right now.
Right.
But I think it's definitely probably his best book.
When he does his audio recordings, is it his voice too?
It's his voice,
Okay,
but sometimes that should be a little fucked up sometimes. But that's just audio books in general. It's
Yeah.
like,
he wants to make it
weird.
his, yeah.
But overall, it's like, you know, he's talking about conversations, avoiding small talk. Because, you know, they say he's like a blunt personality that gets straight to the point. He feels like that's like, you know, a good way of life. Avoiding the small conversations.
And
So like
having-
something you interested in?
I'll check it out. But I want to focus in on chapter 6 too.
Oh, yeah, what happened in chapter 6? He alludes to a comrade that he used to have on payroll that he said the reason for the split was that the comrade essentially wanted more. It was a certain lifestyle that they wanted to live up to because they was around it that they weren't really getting. And apparently they were already being overpaid for the services they was providing, but you know, that was your man's. So you would do that for your homie. But you know, eventually he had to cut ends.
Yeah, it feels like this might be
The infamous.
the official last installment of Where's Wax?
Potentially.
Potentially, because we've gotten the wax side already. Remember, he
Yeah.
started talking about Jesus, and we were like, "Hold up, that's a nigga that's done something before."
Yeah, yeah.
So that was the last we heard from him. He was doing pull-ups and talking a lot of Jesus talk. So
Yeah.
we knew he was in the wrong just off that energy alone.
Nigga, pull
You
up
know
some
what I'm saying?
Jesus.
So, yeah.
Worse than George
So-
Janko. nigga.
Yeah, so if this is happening and this is Charlamagne speaking on it for the first time, that could be an added bonus on getting rid of a nigga too, you know? I found out this thing about you possibly putting hands on her, and then you're like trying to milk me for more money when I've already been paying you over 6 figures. But let's just be objective in terms of being a bodyguard for Charlamagne, right? Do you regulate in one serious situation a year justify for like a raise? I'm thinking as like a bodyguard, right? Like I'm here to protect your life, right?
You're really it's more than one situation though, because you're stopping situations from even occurring just by being there.
Right.
And it's also the like who you're protecting. Is
Yeah, the
like
higher
just
the
because it
profile.
happens one time one year doesn't mean it's going to be one time the next. It could be 3, 4 because it's Charlamagne.
And he's so elevated from getting punched on in the street,
Yeah.
outside the radio station, like you might not even have to get active, but once every
Right.
2 to 3 years.
Right.
But even then, like, shit would happen. Shit would happen with other celebrities that you would never expect. Like when they was in that restaurant. Who was
Mace.
the Mace?
It was either Mace or Busta Rhymes.
Like most of the time, you
think it was
security,
Mace, though.
you thinking about civilians running up and doing
Yeah.
nut shit. But it's
Yeah.
like occasionally you got to worry about these other figures.
And there's security guards
Yeah.
who are big as
Yeah,
shit.
because now it's toe to toe. We on equal playing field now.
Yeah, that's
But-
crazy.
But what was he saying? He felt like that person was just pretty much leeching from him? Because I
Like-
didn't get to read that book or listen to that.
They
one.
were asking for more than what they were worth, truly. And they were already getting overcompensated for what it was. So it's like, you know, at a certain point, you overstepping that boundary.
Does that sound like what? Like,
Like, that's what I'm saying. We're kind of running with the theory that it is wax.
Even though he obviously never said his name.
But yeah, that
Yeah.
seems like too simple of an answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just based off what everybody else is saying, this is some complete, like, out of field shit.
Yeah, I felt like it was a little bit of a stretch to just assume completely like it could be wax and that could be overlap, but based on I didn't read it, so just of what I've heard y'all say, what I've heard Danny say, it's like I didn't hear enough to just solidify that I know it's wax.
It's funny in a book that's
The fact that
that's against small talk, he is low-key beating around his bush.
right.
It's like, nigga, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
You know what makes me more comfortable with not believing it's wax is the fact that it was so focused on money, because it just didn't feel like wax
was even
is-
getting paid.
No,
well,
no,
he was getting,
he's getting
but he
paid.
had.
Oh, you know what? Now that I think about it, maybe not paid for bodyguard services, but maybe he
Brilliant
was
Idiots.
the Brilliant Idiots, because
Yeah.
he was a damn near permanent figure at one point.
Yeah, yeah.
And that might not have been reflected.
He might have
He
been
might
getting
have been
anything
trying
for
to
that.
shake Charlamagne down for what he felt like he was owed on the
Brilliant Idiots.
Brilliant Idiot
That could be the
side.
case.
Potentially.
That would be the only way for me that Wax
that it could be
complaining,
Wax.
Wax complaining about money
And
or
it was-
having it to Soul Furcus makes the
And it was
most
probably
sense.
a lot of money for those features.
And
that
even though
that Wax was
and I don't know this
asking
nigga either. He could be money crazy where he's all he might be like big deal, like always asking for the chili. You
But he
know?
has a
Like,
chicken
Maybe,
coop.
but I was just about to
A
say,
nigga with
based off who Wax has been, it seemed like he the type of nigga to really get it on his own.
But he
Like,
might have people in his ear because when you become that prominent figure on the pod, being that third person, he might have people on the backside being like, you turning that up.
that is true.
You know what I'm saying?
And Wax is the type of nigga that if you use two definitions, he don't know. He's probably taking your advice.
Come
on top of that too, he was with Carla, and Carla is like important in the podcasting space. She's one of the people that apparently helps podcasters connect to the bag. Like she's got a lot of connections, like advertising shit like that. This is what I've heard. I don't know this for a fact, but he's also was in a serious relationship with somebody who was well versed in the podcast thing. She could be telling them you deserve the raise.
And you see, this is where speculation is just like it meets its wits end because how you beating me and I'm giving you podcast advice allegedly. All at the same time. It's like,
yeah.
this is worse than Reddit.
Is there anybody else
That's
that you
what
guys
true love
think it
is.
could be besides Wax? Because it just like
I can't
you
think
said,
of any Charlamagne's comrades. Like what's his other?
Is Paige still around?
Paige. Paige is not around anymore.
That's a good point.
Who?
That's a
Paige.
good point. Because he never alluded to gender. And I always used to wonder where the fuck Paige went.
That is a good point too. Oh, he didn't allude to Ginger.
The thing is,
He talked
Ginger.
about
he has a lot of people in his camp.
He does.
There's been a lot of people he's been taking care of, and it's been a
Charlamagne's
rotating
circle,
cast. And
it feels
crew.
small, but I think it is a sizable amount.
Because not all of them care about talking on the podcast for 30 seconds real quick.
Yeah.
Paige and Taylor just had the kind of personality to want to do that.
No, Paige never spoke.
Nah, Paige spoke.
Did she?
Hardly.
That's how
I
we
mean,
know
it
who
was
Paige
very,
is.
very
Hardly.
rare.
It was
They
very
would
rare.
always bring her in, but there was times where it's like you would get a few minutes of Paige.
They'd have to ask her to come in 3 times before she'd actually go in there.
It
She
wasn't
did not
that
wanna talk.
bad.
Yes, it was.
They
It
had
wasn't
to ask
that
her over
bad.
and over.
Compared
that
to, like,
happened when they
Taylor?
was trying to ask about her boyfriend. There was like a football player.
They'd be like, Paige, come here, and Taylor would walk over. And they'd be like,
Right, yeah, like, I feel
that's
like
because Taylor's goofy.
I feel like the most I heard Paige talk was only about her boyfriend, and that was once out of the first 7 years or 5 years of the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Paige got some moments. She's not notable enough
She
to
does
have a
have moments.
compilation, but she got some moments.
she got moments.
Yeah, she's cool, huh?
maybe it's Paige then.
I'm not saying all that, but since you can't have another opinion on this, you want to tease
She's
something. nigga.
cool, huh? Yeah, nah.
it can't be nobody else. Well, there's nobody else that I can think of.
That is known to the public.
Yeah. Not even to the public, because niggas don't even know who Taylor is if they don't. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah, true.
like this is already like level 2.
Yeah.
Niggas like Wax. Like what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
the big
it's-
nigga with the dreads.
yeah, it's not too many
That's what
people
we're
who's
talking about.
bodyguards you know their name of. I guess that's it. But outside of that, you think you on initial first read, you think this is one of his best books, or this is his best book?
Yeah, it's up there. But that's just what happens. You
I
get
got a
better with
question,
writing.
though. What have you gotten from it so far? Like, what has it done for you listening to it?
I need to stop beating around the bush.
You
I
do.
need to be more direct with my feelings.
You do.
Yeah.
Fuck small talk. Let's
Yeah.
get right to it. Oh
Right
wait,
to it.
that was your message?
What?
I thought you were prefacing because you hadn't said anything about the quality yet. But that was the message that you took away from
That's
it.
the message from the book.
That's-
from
But
the
that's
back
what
of the
you took
book.
That's
that-
kind of
that it
sad,
says,
and
yeah.
that's only because that's the cover.
And then, no, that's not the cover.
That's
You
a
know when
little-
you
That is not just the
you know
cover.
when you
That's a
open
little
it
crazy.
and then sometimes
So if you want me to do an extensive review of what he's actually talking about on
there
here,
we go.
Maybe not extensive, just a.
But if you want me to give you a
at
little bit
least,
more,
at least an intermediate.
said-
I mean, the game is sold, not told. I had to pay $12 for this shit. You
That's
too,
true.
niggas.
That's true. Yeah.
You too,
I'm gonna get
niggas.
it. I'm gonna get it.
But essentially, he's just going. It really does feel like a trilogy in the Black Privilege and Shook ones because it's
Okay.
like it's less about his life, even though there are tidbits in it. But he's really just using examples of like conversations that he's actually had with people. Like he even, the infamous group chat that they talk about that are like, Schultz and all them niggas occasionally on being idiots back in the day.
Yes.
He even brought up like it's stuff like that he's getting into that he's revealing a few more details about. But
okay.
it's therapy's there because therapy's in everything he does. You can't avoid that.
Of
course.
But then he also has shit where like Aaron Magruder will come in and like
The Boondocks creator.
the dude from the nigga
Yeah.
from the Boondocks and like write some shit up that'll go along with the message he's going in. There's a few other people that's in there like that, but it's cool.
And
in
he,
terms of like his voice is coming in, and this is his section.
I don't
that he
know
wrote
if
in the
Aaron
book.
Magruder read it, spoke it out loud, but
Yeah.
he definitely wrote it. Yeah,
Okay.
like a sermon in there.
Any like political figures?
Not that I can remember right
Probably
now.
not,
Under
yeah.
the influence.
Well, you probably haven't you haven't finished the book, right?
Yeah, no, I'm
I
like
was about
a
to
little
say.
bit over halfway, probably like 60%.
Okay.
Actually, I could check right now.
Well, damn.
Oh yeah, because you got the audiobook.
Yeah, audiobook. Yeah.
Oh yeah, y'all want to put a bet on the number?
A bet on how much you've been reading?
I
Yeah.
think
What
you're
percent-
at
what percent?
42%.
I'd rather just shoot myself.
I'm just gonna believe you because I remember you said you were listening to it on the plane, and that was a 5-hour flight. So
Well, apparently I have 18 minutes left, so I lied before. I
you're at
read a lot more.
You're at
of
like
this book.
92%.
Yeah.
Like
when we
you're-
asked what he learned from it, it was
Fuck niggas.
okay. But nah,
that's kind of bad on your comprehension.
Yeah.
Nah, it isn't. What more do you want to know, nigga?
comprehension ain't listening to
Ask a question.
We should have bought the books to have them on the table.
That's what I'm
But now,
saying.
ask a question.
Sorry, Charlamagne. We
No,
should have done that for
don't
you.
make it. It's not personal. It's just you.
It is personal.
You've
You
listened
talked
to
about
5
my
hours,
comprehension.
and it could have been more of like well, I learned this. You know, he said, just
Like, was there anything notable that stood out? That,
Or
like,
anything.
jumped at
No,
you?
this is a better question.
Well, what's up?
What would you apply from the book? That's the most important thing. Niggas be reading books all the time, and a lot of the times we're just like reading shit just to be reading it.
It depends on the book.
It's
but,
about
you know,
applying it. Yeah, especially in terms of that. Like,
But
you can't apply something from a Lord of the Rings book, obviously, but you know,
Stephen Pressfield, Pimp
books
and
like
Ken,
this, you should be able to apply something.
Napoleon Hill.
Well, for me personally, right? There's sometimes where I do something like unconsciously. There's actually a good habit, but if I learn that it's a good habit, I can double down on that shit. So like. He was saying before interviews, in order to avoid all the small talk and all that shit on camera, so he can get directly to the like, hey, who you been fucking questions, he do all that shit beforehand. Like
The chilling before we hit camera, before we hit live.
he's adamant about we need space in between. So like, let's sit here and let's talk, get through all that shit, get familiar, and then let's start recording.
That makes sense.
Cause you know,
Yeah, that
sometimes
makes sense.
sometimes with an interview, it's like it just depends on the vibe and like if you paying for the studio time, it's like nigga, like we small talking because we setting these cameras up, still. But it's like it's not intentional.
Yeah.
That's normally where the most rapport is built too.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
you get, it makes complete sense.
Exactly.
Especially if he's talking about his one-on-one interviews, because in his most recent episode of Brilliant Idiots, he was saying that he's gonna be doing the one-on-one interviews. He's starting that back up again. So and
that's
those need to be cleaner and tighter. A podcast.
You riff a little bit.
Podcast is kind of built on small talk a little bit.
Yeah.
Not 100%, but
A little
It
bit
don't
of
have
riffing.
to be.
it
lot
doesn't
of
have to
people
be.
do that.
Yeah, there's a healthy area of
Yeah.
small talk in terms of podcasting. But yeah, especially he's talking in terms of those interviews then for sure.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, it was some of the therapy parts that he was talking. It's like I was like, damn, I started thinking about me and my dad's relationship. I was like, oh shit.
Oh, so you did get something good from this book then.
Yeah, I'm just starting to remember it more now that I've been challenged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you call your dad when you were done? Or are you going to call him after these next 18 minutes?
I don't think I'm ready.
Not
I
ready
need to see how the story ends first. Angel.
So all that direction is
man.
out the window.
Right. All right, let's stay on Charlamagne real quick.